25th, 7 p.m. Call the meeting of the Bourne Planning Board to order. The Zoom chat will not be monitored. Participants who wish to speak must raise their hand with the icon until the chair asks them to unmute. Note that this meeting is being recorded for live broadcast and televised for replay by Bourne TV. If anyone has an audio-visual recording, please acknowledge. The first item on the agenda is the application for the extension for 04/2019 XA 21 Canal Street, map 11, parcel 27. The application is a request for an extension. It'll be for 2 years. This project is located in a wetland resource area.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Do I need to turn this on? No, it seems like it's on. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name's Greg Werson with Greensail Environmental, representing 21 Huntersbrook Road, Inc. Probably about a month and a half ago, we met with Jen Harsherman and sat down. We knew our site plan review permit was coming up for expiration at the end of December, so we put in an application for extension. We're in the midst of doing some revisions to the project, which isn't before you tonight. So really, if I can open it up for questions on why we're here. We still intend to develop the project with some redesign. So presently working with the Cape Cod Commission, but if it pleasures the board, we can certainly set something up in the near future to present to the board and to the public if they have any questions about the changes that we are proposing. Okay, yeah, but tonight it's just strictly for the extension, and at any time in the future when your plans become a little bit more solidified, sure, then please, if you want to come before and have an informal discussion, that would be great. Yeah, we'd be happy to, especially before we resubmit to the Cape Cod Commission. That way, if there's any public or board input, we can see what we can incorporate into the revisions. Okay, very good. Any questions or comments from the board? Liz?
Do you think you're gonna need the whole 24 months? It's like a lot.
I'd like to say no, but I don't want to come back in front of the board again. If you guys wanted to shorten it, the time frame, that would be at the pleasure of the board, but we are asking for 24 months. Yeah. The state allows up to 3 years, so our bylaw really says for 2. I believe special permits might only be 2. I'm not sure, but we're not requesting 3. We're only requesting 2. Yeah. Any other questions from the board members? Anybody from the audience? Judy.
I guess my question is this an extension for the current plan that's on file?
There's no changes.
So if there's a change, it would be a new special permit?
Or an amendment to the existing, but yes, they would,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
This is just an extension of the project that was approved.
Okay. Sounds good. I have some thoughts for when it comes to the future for discussion. I want to have it on record that I'm passing this on to, but with questions.
Yeah, yeah, not on the extension, but any changes? Is
Yes,
that
on the
okay?
changes.
So what we'll do is we'll put this on our website.
Yep.
You'll file it with us?
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Any questions or comments about to extend the project for 2 years? Seeing none.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, and that's for 2 years. Motion to approve for 2 with a second. Any discussion on the motion to extend the permit for 2 years? Seeing none, requires a roll up on the motion to approve.
My name is Scott Froman. I live in Sagamore Beach. I'm just questioning why we have to continue to extend this for them. They came to you initially, got their approval, then they had 2 years to start work. They did nothing. They came back for an extension. They were given 2 years because of the COVID situation. In that 2 years, nothing's been done. Their previous request should have expired in December. Now here we are into January. They're coming to you again. Still no work has been done. And I think, over time, the people in the community have a right to understand, what's going to be going on there and why nothing's been done so far except some roads. And then we start hearing stories about how, the whole plan is going to be changed. There's lots of rumors and stuff going around that concerns people in the village, and I think it needs to be dealt with. Now, I have some stuff here that I know goes back to way back to the beginning, and I know it's not necessarily relevant to now, but I think it's important that the board keeps this in mind as they make these decisions about extending timelines for these folks and then making plans for the future, including the original letters that were written to the previous owners when this land was being purchased, in which it was, addressed that the buyer was looking to build a small family community on this 8 acres of land, a family compound, so to speak, and how, they were going to address that. But then as soon as that all happened, they came before the town and redid the zoning, and now they've got this, big plans to put in whatever. So again, I'm not trying to readdress those issues, except to keep it fresh in your mind that, what was originally presented to the previous owners as to what was going to be done with this land, and the letters that they were given, and the outreach that was taken to them was never followed through. And then once it was done, now we're getting all these, well, we need more time for this and we need more time for that. And I think the community deserves better than this. And again, we can come along and make all the changes we want whenever, and so forth. And I know you'll address those issues as they come along, but I want to keep it fresh in your minds, and I'll be glad to share, the exact details of what, was originally presented with anybody that would like to see that.
Okay. But one of the reasons, like, for the extension is, first it was COVID, then it's
Yep.
interest rates, supply chain.
That's all nice.
So this isn't the only project. There were other
Right.
projects that we've been looking at, and for those reasons, we've given that consideration.
That's right, and that's why I think it needs to be considered even starting right now when you give them an extension. That since the time they first got their first approvals, a lot of things have changed in the village with the building of the new affordable housing behind the fire station and so forth. The other building that's gone on, the impact it's going to have on resources in the village and so forth. So, before we start passing out extensions for, this project or whatever, I think that needs to be considered before even they start to come back to you with, well, we're going to change this around and we're going to do this, or we want to do this, or we want to do that. And some other, factors that have affected the village, such as, the possibility for marijuana shops and where those would go and so on and so forth.
Thank you,
So I would hope you'd consider that.
thank you. So we have a motion made, second. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing and hearing none. John?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jean?
Yeah, did you have a comment?
It's not actually on the motion, but I'll ask you after we're finished with
Okay.
this.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes,
Okay, Amanda?
Yes.
Liz?
yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
Doc?
Yes.
Yes. All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
Dan, can we talk about at another time, we don't have to do it right now, when someone has, because I've seen this 3 or 4 times, the special permit, and then if their extension or it's going to be changed or owners have changed, how do we take into consideration a change in scope as to what was previously approved?
Yeah.
So, I'd like to, because
Yeah.
I've seen it a couple times. Okay,
Perfect.
thanks.
Number 2 on the application is access determination for 79 Mayflower Road, map 4.4, parcel 11. This application is for access determination.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Attorney Christopher Corain. I represent John Hughes. He's the owner of the lot at 79 Mayflower. It was determined by the building commissioner that this is a buildable lot, but was referred to this board for an access determination. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Mayflower. It is a 20-foot wide surface, 40-foot layout shown on a plan. The lot itself, practically speaking, does have access. You can drive to the lot back and forth, and the Mayflower itself to the road is access for 2 other homes, and certainly is adequate to support the vehicular traffic that goes back and forth to those homes. I reviewed the commentary from the various departments. The fire department, for lack of a better word, didn't say that they couldn't have access. They kind of just washed their hands of it and said it wasn't within their jurisdiction. But certainly, they didn't say that there was any impediment to them to get to the home. There's no barriers. I mean, you can drive right up to the lot. So I would certainly suggest in that case that there is sufficient access to the lot and, you know, to be able for this board to make a determination in favor of access. With respect to the engineering report, you know, the things that I think are relevant to access, you know, an adequacy of access, you know, the width, the layout, we meet those requirements. They did talk about things like stormwater management. You know, I'm not aware of what the stormwater management issues are, but, you know, those don't seem to be relevant to can you get to the lot or can you not get to the lot. You know, if the property were be allowed to be developed, my clients are certainly willing to work with the engineering department to address any stormwater concerns. But again, I don't see those as access issues, similar to the water line from the water district. Again, I don't see that as an access issue, but certainly if there are improvements or repairs that need to be made, my client is certainly willing to work, you know, with the department to, you know, address any of those concerns. So again, you know, just practically speaking, there is access to this lot, and this road is used for other lots on Mayflower. They have adequate access, so I don't see, you know, why a determination could be made that the next lot wouldn't have adequate access. The only other thing I would bring up, I know the engineering department spoke about bringing the road from the other side of Mayflower. Just from I don't see any reason for that because we have the adequate access, but from a practical speaking, that road was never developed on that side. People's lots now have kind of subsumed those areas where the road layout is. I mean, you'd really be destroying people's property at that point if you were to build a road from the other side of Mayflower. So we don't think that that's a realistic solution. I don't think that the people who live there would, you know, want that to be done. So, you know, we'd like to use the access as it is now. So happy to answer any questions. Mr. Hughes is here as well, if you have any questions.
Chris, do you have any comments on this?
You know, reviewing it again for the fourth time, has anything changed?
Not to, I mean, this is my first time
Exactly.
here.
Exactly, nothing's changed, the same issues are present.
Yeah.
That's a steep hill down into it. Because the people, and the easiest way for them to access their lot, because they've encroached into the right-of-way, is no concern of ours. That's up to Mr. Hughes and his family. If they want to get access, that's the way they're coming in. They're not coming over the top of that hill unless they want to rebuild that whole road to our subdivision standards. And I don't think they want to do that. So I don't see any changes from 2021 when we reviewed this, Mr. Chairman. It's all the same issues. The fire department was concerned, and they referred back to their notes from the previous times. They need a level place to park their vehicle, as you, I'm sure, are aware. And they won't have that there because this is gonna be a steep driveway down into a hole. We're also gonna face, what we do with a lot of private roads is we're gonna have all kinds of water issues once that's all opened up.
Correct.
The way for them to do that is to come in from the lower end, create a driveway, and if they have to disrupt what people have encroached into the right-of-way, then so be it. But I'm strictly against this unless they want to come in from the other end.
I mean, I guess I would just say, the driveway, again, that's not an access issue. If there's a slope from the driveway for their lot line down to their house, that's not an access issue. If there's water that's going to pour back towards their lot, that's not an access issue. So,
Well, I believe it is an access issue. We've seen this time and time again, this board has seen it, with private roads especially. Oh, we're only gonna do this, we're only gonna do that. And years down the road, we have a big hue and cry because we have flooding, and the water has changed, and now we have more impervious surface. We don't need that, the town doesn't need that. So the access is not the way they wanna go. It's the other way.
again, the access is there already. They have access to the lot from that area. It's opened up and you can get there. From a practical standpoint, you can get to that
You
lot.
can get there. It's a safety issue and a water issue, yeah, that's not there.
I think the water issue is a big, I mean, reading
Catherine?
I'm sorry.
No, I just want to make sure so they
So,
can.
but reading everything, you know, from the engineers about the water issue, how many times have we sat here and saw, you know, seen this happen before? So I think if they're telling us there's a water issue, I don't think we can ignore it. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna go down to Westerly Avenue, and I understand the access, but there's a lot of other people that will be impacted by this, as with any development, so.
with the water district and their concern about
Through here
whether
also.
they can tap, what is it, an 1.5 inch steel cement line.
Right.
And if they break it, you might have to reline it or replace it. I understand that if you go to tap, that would be the responsibility of the Hughes
Right.
to replace that. The roadway and the drainage, we're having some issues with other properties. And my concern with, I don't want to create an issue with the town, because the town engineer brought it up, you know, it's not one of us.
Correct.
The town engineer brought that up. So before we give any kind of concern for the access, I'd like to see some kind of consideration to abate any kind of water, because I don't think there's any stormwater management at all along that road. So we don't want to have another piece of property, and it diverts water because of construction. And we understand, you know, you can modify your lot according to the, you know, the building code, but we don't want to push the water or divert the water to some other location and flood it. So that would be one of my main concerns, is to address that issue. And I think the town engineer would like to see that addressed, because if we start something, I think we'd let Pandora's box open, and then we can't put it back in.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with your comments. I mean, I actually have had my clients reach out to a local engineer, and so if the board were, would take into consideration and some sort of engineering from my client's side to present to the board before making a decision, you know, I think they're okay with that.
I would feel comfortable, that's what I would be more concerned with, is the stormwater management. And again, with the tap on the domestic line, that's with the North Sagamore Water District and the fire department for, you know, whether they increase the size of the main or whatever they have in it, because it's domestic water. So that would be those are my two concerns that the town has addressed, but I think it can be corrected. But I don't think we should open Pandora's box without having an answer prior to approval.
Understood. No, I don't disagree.
Anybody else? Doc?
I'm
sorry.
You got your hand up. I look at it as two separate issues. I think the proponent is looking to get our support that he legally has access. And it'll make it a lot easier to make decisions about spending money on engineering, meeting any of these requirements. And I do think that process would be covered through a building permit application as well. So I do agree that deciding whether they have legal access, which this is a resident or an owner who's had this land for quite some time, has paid taxes, and I believe he does have legal access, separate from any water runoff issues and so forth.
Doc?
Two comments, one touches on what you just said. This is a really sketchy application. I mean, your point is that you believe he has access. That may be true. We need engineered drawings. I think that was, the town engineer commented on it, and I think one of his comments was the subdivision regulations requires the lane to be paved. Is that not, did anyone read that the same way? That's why I read it. Subdivision, and a lot of those houses were put in 50 years ago and life was casual. As has been said more than once, we've had a couple of projects before us where real damage has been done to bystanders. So I'm going to suggest that we really tighten up the application. This was really hard to make sense of. Basically a page out of an assessor's map. Engineered drawings, pavement, and drainage. I believe the engineer also commented there was a need for a catch basin at a certain point to intercept runoff. We need engineered drawings.
Well, I would just say, you know, again, your application procedure for an access doesn't require engineered drawings, I don't believe. And again, you know, I want to work with the board. You know, I do agree with Mr. Dugan that, you know, I see them as separate issues. You know, that stormwater management or stormwater is not a access issue. But again, you know, my client's goal is they have a buildable lot. They have been paying taxes on it. They want to be able to build on it. So, you know, we want to work with the board if that's, you know, what the board wants.
See, my question is let's just say someone approved access tonight. Would a contractor show up in a week? Where are the engineered drawings that we have confidence that it's going to be a competent installation?
Right, well, I guess you would, whatever is required in order to get a building permit engineered, whatever those requirements are in your town would need to be met before they'd be allowed to have just, a contractor just couldn't show up tomorrow. We don't have a building permit.
Sure, sure. I'm just looking at site sketch plan, information sheet, the requirements. None of them are checked off. I mean, take a look at that, even on a sketch level. Help us understand what's going on.
Would you be comfortable continuing to the 8th, and we can address some of these issues and try to iron this out a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, what I would say is let's continue to the 8th. You know, engineers, as you know, are busy, so
Yeah.
if the engineer can't get it done by then, I'll request without, having to, come back before the board that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, or we can move it any other time from that, but at least we don't have to re-advertise it. We can put it on the 8th, and then we can move from that point.
Okay.
I just want to make it consistent with other applications that we have.
Absolutely. No, that's fair.
So if you're comfortable with
I am.
February 8th, I'd entertain a motion to continue to February 8th.
So moved.
Motion by Doc to continue to February 8th. Second. And seconded by Jim. Any discussion on the motion to continue? The board, from the audience. To the lectern, please. Thank you.
I'm Andrew Noland. My family, or my wife's family, has owned a property that abuts Mayflower Road. Our primary entrance is on Phillips Road.
Yep.
But what I'm hearing here has me concerned because this is potential to dramatically change our neighborhood. It's not just one property, but we're talking about, I've heard talked about pavement and additional access when, in fact, there is another alternative, which is from the other side of Mayflower Road. Why do we have to do this? I also understand that that area is built up, but that essentially was a taking by adjacent property owners on that side of the road. So I'm concerned about it because we love that area. We've lived there my wife's family's lived there for 50 years, over 50 years, close to 70. And we really feel this would fundamentally change our neighborhood. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, we understand the neighbors and stuff, and that's one of the reasons, it's like with the stormwater, the domestic water, we're trying to look at all the other components as well.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please.
My name is Andrew Zickel. I own 84 Mayflower Road, which has been across the street from this property for, next year will be 100 years, 3 generations. In fact, we're the #1 water meter ever installed in Sagamore Beach. And we're very proud of it, and it's still working. My concern is really how this lot ever was deemed buildable. In the spring, each year, when the snow melts, it's squishy. If Mr. Foynes hadn't mowed that lot over the last 25 years, we would have had 8-foot cats of nine-tails growing in that. I grew up in those lands, and it used to be a big bayberry bush property with prickers, and we'd get baseballs in there and be stuck in mud. And that property is one big pit, 20-foot sidewalls, I'm sure you know. And it's more than a runoff problem. It's a wetlands certain months of the year. And when we have big snows, we've had a couple in the past 10 years, that is just water and ice. And the people south of that property, they have had tremendous problems with water runoff and asked for vegetation to be grown up on that property to try to slow and absorb some of the water. So I think, just from my concern, is that we go back and see if there's a wetlands delineation ever done, or a perk ever done, or anything ever done to prove that that soil can absorb this water. And now that we're creating a bigger surface area, it's very concerning. It should be concerning for the Hughes family, whom I've never met, and I never got notice of this meeting. And so that's a concern to me. The last concern I'd like to say is that the Hughes have been trying to sell this lot. I made an offer to buy the lot just to keep it preserved. I know another neighbor has done that as well. And now they had no interest in moving in. They wanted to sell the lot and charge a whole bunch of money for it. And now they're going to build a house. And my guess is that the intention is never to move into the house. It's just to sell the house or Airbnb it. So I have a big concern about the motivation here and how this building department ever said this was buildable without understanding, you know, that the lot was mowed and all the vegetation that was grown, and Dave Foynes could attest to this. I'm sure he saw all the type of growth and the kinds of trees and bushes that grow into wetlands. It's very obvious, to me at least, and I've been there for 62 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah. Give me one, okay. Thanks, Dave.
My name is Dave Foynes. I live in the house next to the lot. And the one thing I will tell you, you talk all about the water and the wetlands, take a ride over there and see. On one side of the lot, there's a stockade fence. The woman who owned the house, her name was Sandra Gooch, prior to the people that are in there now, had such a problem with water running down through there. Also water coming down from Wilson Road, that she had to put a dry well in next to the house in order to keep her house, which flooded several times, to keep her cellar basement in her house from flooding. So there's proof right there. It's not, we're not saying, well, it happens here. There's proof that that happens. And putting a property there, doing asphalt or whatever, is only going to make the problem worse for the people down on that end. And there's no place to put, what do you call it, compensatory storage? There's, you know, we got an 8,000 square foot lot or 10,000, whatever it is. So there's the proof right there. And I agree with what the other gentleman has said here. But you've got proof over there that there is a water problem, and that's how they had to try to control it down at the house.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I don't want to take much more of your time. I just don't want this board to get lost in what their charge is, and that's the access issue. You know, whether my clients live in there for the rest of their lives or they rent it, that's not what's before this board, and it shouldn't be a factor of consideration for what this board is. I mean, as I said, they received a letter of buildability from the building department and were referred to this board for the access. So again, we're happy to work with this board to address the concerns that they've raised.
And again, the town engineer brought some information to us, so we're just trying to.
Absolutely.
And I understand both having the access and then the building component.
Right.
Then we're just trying to iron all that out, so.
Well, I agree. Thank you.
So
I appreciate your time.
So with the motion before.
Can I speak?
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Paula Hughes. I am the wife of John Hughes that owns the lot. And yes, at one time, we were looking to sell the lot because we inherited it and really didn't have a need for it at the time. But now that we're getting older and are looking to retire, we thought what a great place to bring our grandchildren who live in Canton. It's a nice little ride for them, and to be at the ocean for them to grow up, as did my children at Dave Foynes' house, as did my husband at the other 74 Mayflower Road, I believe it was. We'd like to have our grandchildren grow up there as well. Chris Farrell states that he's been to this lot, or this has been before him 4 different times. I'd like to know what those 4 times were, because this is only our 2nd time, and the lot's been owned by our family since 1965, and they've never once come to develop it. So I don't know who else has been here before. Chris commented on such a steep hill that we live in. It's a nice natural grade. There is no steep hill. There is no runoff, as Mr. Zickel interpreted. We've been down there several times, driving right on in, some nice vegetative growing, no big bushes, no cat-o'-nine-tails. It's a nice flat road, and it's quite comical that Mr. Foynes used it for storage so many years if it was so difficult to get to in such a steep hill. I don't see how he could use it.
you can see in this grade here, it's a lovely, flat, easy pathway down to the property. If we came in the other side, it's a cow path. Coming in from the other side of the property or the street, it's a cow path going there. This is a nice wide, has always been this wide, because I have pictures from 1989 when Mr. Foynes' house was built that my husband built for him. If there's any drainage issues, it's because those people increased the grade of the road. They've put crushed stone on top of the pavement that was there, and they have
Easy, easy.
not the pavement, the.
You direct it
have
over
you.
here.
And if it is such a swamp piece of property, I don't understand why Mr. Foynes was so adamant to want to buy it for his girlfriend, Susie, I think her name, or Annie. She was gonna build a house there. And so it was such a swamp, why was it okay for them to build a house and not somebody else? And as Mr. Zickel said, he offered to buy the lot as well because he wanted to buy it, build a house there too. So it's just comical that they can come together now and say it's not a buildable lot, it's a swamp, there's so much water and runoff, where there isn't. There has never been an issue there. And I'd like to know who's been before the board besides us for this petition, because it has never been there. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're not looking to open the road. We don't want to disturb the integrity of the neighborhood. We like to keep it the way it is.
We understand that, but we're also working with the town engineer, so.
I understand.
Thank you. So with the motion to continue to January 8th, motion made and second. Any further discussion from the board? Did I say January? You're right, February 8th. With the motion made and seconded to continue to February 8th, any further discussion from the board, from the audience? Seeing and hearing none, requires a roll call.
Yes.
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 Amanda?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, make sure I get the right month again. The next item is the support of finding 07-2023 SF, a waiver of a special permit site plan review, 07-2023 W. 570 MacArthur Boulevard, map 39, parcel 77.3, continued from January 11th, 2024. The application for support of finding in a waiver of a site plan review special permit to convert the temporary outdoor dining area into a permanent outdoor dining area to serve food and beverage to persons outside the building due to the limitations on indoor dining imposed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts from the COVID-19 public health emergency. This project is in a water resource district. The applicant did sign a waiver of time constraints and would like to continue this to February 22nd. They are out of country right now, and they'd like to come back and present them in person. So with that, I'd entertain a motion to continue to February 22nd.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to continue this item to February 22nd by the board from the audience? Seeing and hearing none, it requires a roll call.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes, thank you. Next on the agenda is the application for site plan special permit 06-2023 for 46 Holt Road, map 23.2, parcel 156, continued from January 11th, 2024. The application is to construct two duplex residences for a total of 4 dwelling units. Welcome back.
Good evening, Chair, members. I think from the last time we had our meeting, wanted to get the final approval
For the
from
record.
the DRC.
Yeah, your name, just name for the record.
Oh, yes, Merlin Ladd, representing Ladd and Company, 46 Holt Road. So the DCR was very accommodating, and we met this Tuesday. More of an organic meeting at the site to look at the mature trees, which were a concern, and what we could possibly save. So from that meeting, we were approved. contingent upon a standard landscape design, plantings, and showing the mature trees. We have evergreen buffer over here. We have the mature trees that, also Mr. O'Connor, you had your tape out there, we had ours out prior, marked all the trees we're planning on saving. Also took the suggestion, is it sapwood or something it's called? Tree.
You might have to speak a little closer to that mic.
Oh, okay. We did add at least one sap tree to the corner of the north rain garden. And then the back, also there's a comment, because there is a very large oak tree back there, that we might just shift the rain garden a tiny bit.
Okay. The DRC approved the project, from what I understand, but there's an outstanding issue with the planting plan and a plant list. Is there,
Yeah, that's what I have here.
okay. And when did you complete that?
Pardon?
When was that filed with us? Have you turned that into us yet?
Well, I might have sent you like 50 emails today because it wasn't working right, but
Okay, so it would have been today.
yes,
Okay.
it would have been today.
Okay, because one of the things, we'd like to take a look at it, but it's supposed to be by Monday at noon time, but to take a look at that and to get condition an approval on that by staff and a member of the board could be possible. So I just want to make sure that something we have not seen and that we'd like to explore. That's,
Yeah, so from Tuesday, all I had before was, that we had done was,
I remember that one.
but obviously if I had known I needed to have that
Yeah,
presented, we would have done it much sooner.
yeah. But you have it completed, and I just want to make sure that it meets the muster of the planning board and staff, so. Jeannie, you want to make comment on this?
Well, I'm glad you got the plan together. I'd like to see the details. It's a little far.
I know, I was just gonna get up and walk over.
Yeah, yeah,
And
so,
of course, color, you have to do the color on it too.
oh, sure, yeah. But it would be nice to see the specifications of the sizes of the plants and that sort of thing, because that's
Yeah,
part
and
of something that we'd have to
legend we put
review.
on right over here.
And-
Identifying the size, the planting, spacing, and you can see the numbers in there also.
Okay, so is there any planting around the buildings at all that's gonna be added, or is it just the rain gardens and the trees?
No, there's, I'll stand over here so you can get with the mic too.
Thanks.
So added some shade back in the corner here, towards the back of the lot. There's plantings all around the buildings, the driveways also. Left this little open area on the walkway. Gonna hold the walkway closer to the house just because we have 3 trees there we're trying to save. So in that, they only measure out about 2 feet. So that'd be for the residents to put their little flowers or something. We don't have anything right in the front, trying to keep those walkways back.
Okay, and the pedestrian access is just from the driveways to the buildings?
Correct.
The rest is all?
Yeah, and to the residents, yes.
It was tough walking on the site, just because we didn't have the lot lines marked out clearly. And there is power going through there as well. You're gonna have to deal with the wires and the utility going through that you're aware of. And,
Yeah, I've been working with the woman for the power company on that.
okay,
But until, I can't do a lot on the property until I own it.
sure,
So I'm kind of limited in what I can do.
yeah. I don't,
And of course, it's all undisturbed up here. That's the scope of work when you do, you look at it.
and then are there notes on the plan as far as marked trees, retaining trees, where the construction materials, where the dumpsters would be located and all that sort of thing?
I'm sorry, say
About
that again.
protecting the trees, flagging them, taping off areas where they, putting the driftwood fencing around the trees
Oh,
to be
yes.
protected, where you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
put
like
the
a snow
dumpster?
fencing with stakes around it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't tell from here if those details are all in that plan, so that's just something we're gonna have to look at later.
Yeah.
Doc, did you have any other comments about?
I would say, one concern is keeping the utility trenching under control. So now you appear to have those located accurately, and I'd hate to have, because someone put a water meter here on the building, he says, oh, I have to go straight out through here, and yeah, I missed the tree by 3 feet, and you cut all the roots on one side of the tree, and it comes down in a wind throw. So that's key.
Oh,
is
that's huge.
We're
Yeah.
counting on you to sort of wrangle those guys so that they stay as far away from existing trees as possible. Ideally, they'd be under the driveway, but I don't expect that.
Well, yeah, like we talked about on site, you're part of the design review. We're not doing gas, so that takes
Right.
away 4 hookups right there.
Right.
So we're just concerned with the town water and town sewer, which I believe they would be very advantageous in working to minimize any loss of, the large mature trees.
Just be sensitive. I mean, they're
Yes,
out there.
absolutely.
And you just say to these guys, look, stay as far away from them as you can.
Mhm.
And I don't know how to condition that, but that's a sensitivity on your part, because you have money invested in those trees.
Oh, absolutely.
Those are part of your sales program, and also relations with your neighbors. It's all good if you can wrangle those people.
Micromanage, we like to call it.
If you like it.
Yeah, it's,
Thanks, Catherine.
every time I've dealt with the water department, any of them, it's, they're very understanding.
Well, the contractors, is what I'm saying. The guy running the ditch witch is the guy I'm worried about.
Yep.
The backhoe.
But I'm on site all the time. I'd be managing, and
There you
he's a
go.
local Bourne resident, so.
We're counting on you.
Yeah. You know the concern.
Yes, oh, yes. It's,
know the concern.
and to your point, to my concern also.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions or comments about the plan?
I went down there, just stopped by, I was in the area when the design review committee was in there, and Doc was quick to point out some of the trees that he was hoping to save, and I thought that was great, but we did see a couple of them that they're probably gonna have to go because they're roots and they're built up already now. But just a couple of questions, Mr. Ladd. Why are you not considering using natural gas? It's just, it has nothing to do with the approval, it's for my own edification.
They're kind of pushing away from natural gas.
Okay.
Mini
So,
splits?
mini splits?
Yeah, well, so you can do a mini split, that's more retro, but so heat pumps on the
Heat
outside.
pumps.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no, because I'm just thinking, now you have an oil delivery if you were going oil.
Oh, no.
And they're, okay, so.
Right.
all right.
Well, I'm in a flood zone too, so I gotta keep everything up, so.
Yep,
All mechanicals, everything.
okay.
Very good.
But for the building codes, it's harder to pass
Okay.
with natural gas.
And other than that, I wasn't there for the discussion on it, but you're saying the electrical now is most likely gonna go underground? Or you're gonna still try to go overhead? Because there was that one pole out on Holt Road, which is probably gonna have to go away, because it's in the middle of a proposed driveway. The other one was on Summer Street, which is where the existing line is coming across. Is that where you're gonna come from there? From that pole? I mean, have you been dealing with B. Lloyd from Eversource?
Beatrice.
Beatrice Lloyd,
Yep.
yes, that's her name,
Yeah,
B.
so we're, like I said, until I own the property and
Yep.
put in the full work order, I have all the info. Ideally, for me, I'd like to move the pole that's over here in front of that other residence house, right dead in the mid. I'd like to move it over here and run it right down the property line. If we go in somewhere over there, maybe we can feed the houses underground there, being mindful of the tree in the corner. Well, it's a couple trunks.
I was just thinking,
And then that other one on Summer, I'm not sure,
there's enough juice in
because
it,
Eversource is in charge of the power, but it's Verizon that owns the pole.
right?
Okay.
Gotta do a little juggling.
I've worked with Beatrice Lord before, and she's pretty good to work with. She's a common sense person, but
Yeah,
if
she's
there's any
fantastic
way,
returning
any way
calls.
off of either one of those poles, if you can put the stuff underground without disturbing and wrecking the root system, I would suggest you do that, because you're in Buzzards Bay, man, and that place gets some damn wind.
Oh, yeah.
And you got trees here, mature trees, lines are gonna come down. If everything's underground, then you've helped eliminate a potential power outage for the whole area, so.
And
And I
it's a
thought-
cleaner look, too.
And didn't we have that in our
Yeah.
bylaw at one point in time, that
Most of them are gonna be underground.
everything was supposed to be underground, so.
All right, any other questions, comments from
Just
Doc?
incidental, if it was a perfect world, when would you take possession of the property?
When would I? Well,
When would you like to? I mean, if things fell into place.
Is your purchase and sale based on approval?
well, yeah, all of them
Okay.
are.
That's the only way to do
But
it.
approval here and then the building department, but we already have the building plans. So I have this meeting and then Monday. If everything went well here, then I'd go Monday because I gotta get one more allocation for sewer. I have 3 right now. So I have that, wait, Tuesday or Monday, I forget.
Tuesday, Board of Selectmen, Sewer Commissioners.
Yeah.
And then we'd start with the building process, application with the inspectional service.
So you're probably 3 to 4 months away before our actual purchase and sale and shovels in the ground.
I have a
6 months.
deadline before the end of February,
Okay.
everything's, I've asked for extensions, they've given me one, but they won't give me another one, so.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from board? From the audience? You?
I have a
Catherine.
question. So to get this done by the end of February, are we on track so we don't hold them if we get
Yeah.
that information? How
The
can
one
we-
thing that I can see, I mean, the plan, we all seen the plan. I think the biggest hurdle is that plan right there. Because it was submitted today, I think we can condition it, so then we have staff and a member of the planning board, probably somebody who's very familiar with plants, get together. And, so I just wanna make
I
sure.
can leave that here.
Yeah, but it's tough to approve it when we haven't really seen it. So if we can condition it on approval is what I'm getting at. So I think that's the outstanding issue right now, is that plan getting accepted. And because of the late filing, I think we should condition it. I don't think we should continue the meeting, if you know what I mean.
I do, actually.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I was asking, just
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
it keeps him on
yeah.
his time
I-
frame and doesn't
again,
push
with
him.
respect, the gentleman's been before us a number of times.
Yeah.
And he's been working well with the town, and I think the town's
I
been working
agree.
well with the
Yeah,
applicant.
I agree. I don't want to hold him up.
Yeah, I try to incorporate every suggestion and everything
No,
else.
well, and you've done a nice job. Again, I just want to make sure that what the board is requesting,
Yeah.
as well as the DRC, is consistent with what we get.
And we can get that electronically.
Yeah.
Okay, I know.
Go take a picture.
Can you take a
Did you
picture
get
of it
any
with
of
your
my
iPhone?
emails?
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
I didn't think so.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll work on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually on the phone
I-
with a
can you
17-year-old
leave that
kid
with us
asking
tonight?
him.
Can you leave that with us tonight?
Yeah, I can,
Okay.
I'll leave that one.
And that'll be in our office.
Yep.
At the
And I'll
planner's
send the
office.
electronic
Somebody
one
could
then.
take a picture.
Yeah,
of
that's
it.
what I was
I
thinking.
have a scan thing on my
Yeah,
phone, but I don't
yeah.
know.
We'll leave that here, so we can
Okay.
take a look at it.
Okay, all
Okay.
right.
Any other discussion from the board? I'd entertain,
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I have a motion.
sure.
I have reviewed this, we have reviewed this application for special permit 06-2023, and the applicant Ladd Homes LLC is proposing to construct 2 residential duplex dwellings on a vacant parcel. The duplex-style buildings would be comprised of comprised of 2 units each for a total of 4 single-family units at 46 Holt Road, map 23.2, parcel 156. The project is determined to be an allowed use within the downtown core under section 2820, requiring a special permit under land use classification of residential uses of 2-family. Mr. Chairman, based on the planning board's review, the exhibits, testimony of the applicant, experts, witnesses, and recording of the record of proceedings, the planning board has found that the project is consistent with the town of Bourne zoning bylaw 1230 site plan review, 2800 downtown district, all applicable sections, and 3100 lowland regulations. It will not have an adverse effect which will overbalance its beneficial effects for the neighborhood or the town. Therefore, I move to approve site plan review, special permit 06-2023, because the project has met or exceeded the special permit criteria of section 2827 and the following. 1, to grant a special permit for the following. A, section 2820 and table DTD-1 for a 2-family detached dwelling, and B, section 2830 and table DTD-2 for base residential density of 1 unit per 2,000 square feet of the lot area. Conditions: 1, this permit is subject to all rules, regulations, and bylaws of the town of Bourne. 2, the project is approved for 2 duplex residences for a total of 4 residential units. 3, any change to the composition of the number of bedrooms must be reviewed by the planning board before implemented on site. 4, coordination with fire department, engineering department, and 911 coordinator from Bourne PD as to the numbering and/or lettering of the building to assist with 911 emergencies. Fire and life safety systems must meet the requirements of the building code. 5, adequacy of emergency access is deferred to the fire department. 6, confirmation from Conservation Department regarding the final determination of compliance. 7, adequacy of sufficient sewerage to be deferred to the town administrator's office, sewer commissioners. 8, defer to Buzzards Bay Water District for adequacy of service. 9, prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit, an as-built plan must be submitted to the planning board showing all appurtenances above and below ground. 10, this decision shall be recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, Land Court Registry, and a copy returned to the planning department prior to the issuance of a building permit. 11, prior to the issuance of a building permit, a standard planting plan and plant list with special regard for protecting the existing trees on the parcel must be submitted and approved by a planning board representative and planning board staff.
That's your motion?
That's my motion.
Motion made by Jean, do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Liz. Motion been made and second. Any further discussion on the motion from the board, from the audience? Seeing and hearing none, requires a roll call. John?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
Doc? Yes. Myself, yes, unanimous.
I
Again,
appreciate your help.
please leave that plan here, and if you can file one, we'll take a look. Julie, can you just email them tomorrow and see if we have it
Yes.
on file? In that way, if you electronically, we put it on our website. If not,
Yeah, once I receive it, I'll email it straight to the board and put it on the website.
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, my email's working now. so
But just
I'll
leave that one
try to-
here with us tonight.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the application for site plan review special permit 04-2023 for 119 Cranberry Highway, map 12.3, parcel 6-0. Continued from January 11th, 2024. The application is to construct a 3,600 square foot garage to be used for storage. Welcome back. Look at that thing. Don't leave that here.
I have one of those, but I have bad luck. It always falls over on me, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, said, don't leave that here.
Hurry up before he leaves.
I think, yeah,
I like that one better.
yeah, I think, keep telling myself that's town property he's playing with over there. Yeah. We're gonna have something in the budget.
We need something a little bit more.
That's embarrassing.
It is one bit.
I don't know if anybody has trouble seeing, but who has questions?
I have lots of trouble seeing, but that's okay. I'll never focus on that, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Do you guys want?
The floor, I'm sorry, the floor is yours.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, it's Evan Watson, W Engineering, representing the applicant, Regan Jason of Canal Fuel. So we were here a few weeks ago, or a month ago, presenting this project, the proposed garage. We took some input from the board. We had some input from the engineering department and the fire department. And so we've revised the plans to hopefully address everybody's concerns. So I can go through that. I will note that initially, when I sent the plans over digitally, they didn't have any stamps on them, so I did resend them today. They're the same plan set. I have some paper copies here as well.
Good.
So the existing conditions plan is still the same. But, let's see, so I think as far as concerns from the board, one of the items was to add a few trees onto this corner here. So in one of the subsequent sheets, we have so we can hear at home. There you go. A landscape plan that shows trees on this corner. And one of the other items we received from the engineering department was to, because we were replacing some pavement that might not be, perfect pavement, with a roof that we add a dry well or accommodate any increase in stormwater. So it's not much at all. So we plan to have a leach and catch basin here off the corner. He did in his last correspondence mention stuff about erosion control. We do show erosion control here, and it's on the detail of a wattle with a back silt fence. I think that's it for this sheet. Oh, I will say too, we were asked to add, right now I do still show the electric line overhead, only because the pole is right here and it's on the other side of this access easement. Regan does want to put it underground, but we need to explore what the utility company would allow us to do given that easement. So the intent is he wants to put it underground, but we'd like the flexibility in case there's a trouble with the utility company. And the other thing I forgot to mention was with the parking, we didn't have the parking shown. So there are enough parking spaces here at the restaurant, so we showed them and added the note that they're there to remain unstriped, as we talked about because of the surface of the pavement. And then we show where we can have 4 parking spaces here for the garage. So we have all the parking. So we added a landscape and a lighting plan. So there's no proposed lighting, but we did add the 3 eastern pine trees at the corner in the direction of the cemetery. You see our detail sheet does have the erosion control. Nothing too different on that. There's no changes on this sheet. And then the last sheet, the fire department gave me the specifications for their vehicle, which we show here. We put the specs of what we analyzed, and it can easily just go right around like that without any issue. So that's it in a nutshell. I don't know if anybody has any additional questions. I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from any board members? Doc?
Just in regard to that landscaping, that's a good thing. Take a look at this. There's a couple of existing trees down on that slope that's heading down into the pit, and they're not shown on the, if you want to just pass these around. They're not shown, of course, they're not shown on the survey. But look at the photo on the second page. They're sort of down the slope. They look like they're out of the construction area. It's impossible to tell where those concrete blocks are, but I'm guessing that your erosion control is at the top of the slope.
That's right.
So these are down the slope. So it'd be great if we could save those. Just save yourself the cost of removing them. And I wouldn't remove anything to put in pine trees. If putting in the pine trees means removing one of those trees, I would maybe have 1 pine tree instead of 3. But those have so much presence, and they appear to be out of your way, I'd like to try and save them.
I don't want to take them out.
Then we're on the same page.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
It's pretty steep over there.
It's pretty steep over there, yeah.
Bottom.
I don't see you working down there.
There's some rocks there.
Right. That's good.
Yep. So we're under agreement here?
Yes.
And then, any change to the plan, the number of the pines in that back corner would be shown on an as-built?
You know, it's hard to tell where those trees are in regard to your plan.
It's outside of the limit of.
Right, and so what I'm saying is, how far down towards the cemetery are they? If you say I've got 3 pine trees and I've got to get them along that property line, I don't want someone saying, oh, there's a tree in the way, delete that pine tree. They have a lot of presence. In the summertime, they're several stories high and they're okay, you know? So it's a judgment call that save these and if there's a little bit of room, put in a pine tree or 2.
Good suggestion.
Yep, all right, good. Any other questions, comments from board? From the audience? Anybody have a motion or any discussion on that?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we accept this.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed this project and applicant, Reagan Jessing. Proposed development of a 3,600 square foot garage to the rear parcel located at 119 Cranberry Highway, map 12.3, parcel 60 for storage/warehouse use. Project's located in the B2 district, and it is an allowed use under section 2220. Mr. Chairman, based on the planning board review of the exhibits, testimony of the applicant, expert witnesses, and the record of the proceedings, the planning board has found that the project is consistent with the town zoning bylaws, section 1230, site plan review, 1331, special permit criteria, and on 2130, divided lot. Special permit number 04/2023 meet the criteria for the special permit of the following: pedestrian flow, pedestrian vehicle flow, safety, and safety has been met, deferred to the Bourne Fire Department for emergency vehicle access. B, the utilities and other public services are adequate. The proposed building will not have water or septic connections. C, there are no impacted areas to the natural environment. D, impact upon nearby development premises is minimized and commercial abutters may experience minor impacts such as noise during construction. E, the proposed building is visually compatible with its surroundings. And F, the project is not located within the water resource district. G, there is no impact on the town's need for year-round housing. Therefore, I move to approve the site plan permit number 04/2023 in accordance with the following conditions. The waivers, waiver per section 1238A 3E is requested for electricity utility line to be connected overhead to the existing utility pole. Conditions, the permit is subject to all rules and regulations and bylaws of the town of Bourne. 2, deferred to the fire department for adequacy emergency vehicle access. A minimum of 1 Knox box is required on the building. Emergency responder radio coverage is required by the Mass State Building Code in all new buildings. Before final sign-off, appropriate documentation needs to be provided to ensure adequate coverage exists. If coverage is not sufficient, a radio signal booster will be required. Condition with the town's engineer, fire department, and 911 coordinator as to the numbering and the lettering of the building to assist with 911 emergencies. Additional conditions may apply based on future usage of storage. 3, erosion control measures be implemented to prevent dirt, debris being tracked on Cranberry Highway. 4, any changes to the approved site plan or architectural plan must be approved by the planning board before being implemented on site. 5, prior to issuance of the occupancy permit, as built plan must be submitted to the planning board showing all approved. Yeah, what's that one?
Appurtenances.
Appurtenances. That's tough. It wasn't in my criminal justice degree. Above and below ground. 6, this decision shall be recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds / Land Court Registry, and copy returned to the Planning Department prior to the issuance of a building permit.
And the only other one was a condition from the engineer, is prior to the issuance of the building permit, stamped stormwater report and drainage calculations to be approved by the town engineer. And I said
Just make sure that the drainage is taken care of.
Yep, very good. Yeah, we had a discussion on the phone today.
Yeah.
He was concerned that if there was additional paving or anything going on around it, that might be a little more than what we're proposing and might need that report.
As long as you satisfy him.
Yep, perfect.
That's,
Mr. Chairman,
that's-
just
we're
add a
looking-
condition, preserve and protect major shade trees closest to the cemetery.
Yeah. The northeast corner.
North,
Yep.
yes, northeast corner.
You got that as part of your motion there, Jim?
Yeah, in the preserve and protect the northeast corner of trees.
Okay, very good. I have a motion made. Do I have a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Gene. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion from the board? From the audience? Seeing, hearing none, requires a roll call. John?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Gene?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
Doc? Yes. And yes, unanimous. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience, by the way.
Good luck, Reggie.
All right, nothing further on the agenda. I think-
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made second. All-
Second, third,
Roll call.
fourth.
Vote with your feet.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, unanimous.
Amanda?